All right, welcome to a video for Math with Confidence 4th grade, lesson 3.3. Yes, you're going to hear noise in the background because I have children and they're playing, but I thought I would share how I explained to my child recently how to multiply multiples of 10 mentally. So this is lesson 3.3, and we have, sorry about the shadow, an example array in our teaching box right here. And so she could understand the procedure of underlining the zeros and multiplying 2 times 3 and then putting the 2 zeros in her answer. But when I asked her more in depth, like, what does that mean? Like, what's actually happening? Do you actually understand this? And she's like, well, not really. I'm just doing what it said to do, which was multiply the two numbers and then put the zeros in my answer. And I thought, okay, she doesn't really deeply understand this. So it could be fine to just let her go on like that, but I decided to spend just a little bit of time, because she was grasping that so quickly, to use some of our lesson time to try and understand this a little more deeply according to what's being explained here and in the teacher's book. So this is what I did. I took my 10 rods and I said, okay, so let's dial this down. And so depending on the understanding of your child, you could actually dial this way, 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 way down. Or you could just start with tens. I'll give an example. So we put out our 10 rods here and we say, okay, what do we already know? We know that if we multiply, we have to multiply every part. If we're going to multiply this block, this rod times this one, we have to multiply this. Every part of this has to be multiplied with every part of this. So this one has to be multiplied with this one. And we know already, because duh, 1 times 1, I mean, by this point you probably know this and feel silly for me talking about that. 1 times 1 is 1. And if we multiplied this one with the next one, we would get another 1. And we already know, this is easy, 1 times 2 is 2. And 1 times the next one is 3. And so this is like pretty basic stuff. So we know that if we multiply this 1 times every one that's here, we end up with a 10 rod. This one, because 1 times 10 is 10. So then if we multiply the next one over times every one in this row, we get, no surprise, another 10. And that's pretty easy at this point. We should know, well, yeah, because 2 times 10 is 20. We know this. So we should also know then, and if your child didn't know this really easily, or if they were struggling to grasp it mentally, you could say, okay, keep going. You know, like how many 10s are we going to build up there by doing that process over and over? But we know that 10 times 10, if we do this for every single part of this 10 rod and we multiply this times this, we end up with, dun dun dun, 100. 10 tens. 10 times 10 is 100. And you could even think of it as, I'm going to make 10 rows of 10, so I'm going to go 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 times. It'd be fun. I was thinking about this, if you could like stamp this on a stamp pad and then just go, okay, 10 times 10. Here's 10, 10 times. Boom, 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 boom. What do you get? I get this when I do that. So that's what we know. We should know that coming to this lesson already. But if for some reason, like it ties it back and your kid's like, okay, yeah, I know that. Or I don't know that, but now I know it now. Okay, so let's take it up to the next level. Now we have 2 tens times 1 10, or 20 times 10. So this one has to multiply with this one, which we did that, and we got this. But the rules for multiplication are that everything has to be multiplied by everything. So that means this one now also has to multiply by this. So that would be another 10. So if we could see this as 11, or 110 times 10, we can see that the answer is 110, or excuse me, 110. If that was confusing, you could back that up and say, okay, well then what's, sorry, I gotta catch my train of thought here for a second. What's 11 times 1? Well, 11 times 1 is 11. And going down like that, you would end up with all of this if you did 11 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5, and you would end up with this. There's a few different ways that you can look at this. I might have lost you already. So let me go back to what I was saying. 10 times 10 is 100. But now this 10 has to be multiplied by this 10. Every single one of these has to multiply with every single one of these, and when it does, you get another 100. So that's why 210 times 10 is 200. 210 times 10 is 200, or 20 times 10 becomes 200, because this 10 from the 20 multiplies with this 10 to make 100, and this 10 from the 20 multiplies with this 10 to make 100. At this point, I think the light bulb was already coming on for my child, but if it's not, let's put one down here. Because you do want to talk about this part, because what happens when you have 2 this way and 2 this way? It changes. Because now this one has to multiply with this one, which it does, and this one has to multiply with this one, because we're going to do this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, if you want to think of this as 20. So this 10 times this 10 makes this 10 times this 10 makes this, and don't forget about this one times this one makes this as it comes down the rows, and this one times this one makes this as it comes down the rows 10 times and then 20 times, or another 10, 110, 210. So that means 210 times 210 is 400. Or 20 times 20 is 400. And so that is why we can think of it as 2 tens times 3 tens. So here we have 10, 10, 10. If you can imagine a 10 rod up here, at the top of the square, times a 10 rod over here, that makes this 100, and another 10 rod, the same 10 rod multiplied by a 1 over here, that makes this 100. This 10 rod has to multiply with this one to make this 100. This 10 rod has to multiply with that one to make this 100. This one has to multiply with this one to make this 100. Maybe I should have done this in a different order. This one has to multiply with this one to make this 100. Do you have to think about that every time you do 20 times 30 or 60 times 30? No, you don't. But it might help a child understand why this is also called 1800, because it's 6 tens coming this way times 3 tens going this way. this one is multiplying with another one down here and another one down here, and like we're getting more blocks down here. If we could extend this array coming down here until instead of 2 tens of rows, we would have 6 tens of rows. And so you end up with 1800 instead of just writing 18 and then putting 2 zeros on it, which is what you end up doing. But it's also a little less confusing when you get a situation like this. So when I was a child, I remember being confused about this extra 0 that suddenly shows up. Because you have the 2 zeros from here. And I mean, some kids didn't. My daughter was like, no, I get it, because 8 times 5 is 40, so I got to keep the 0. But I would look back at my answer and think, second guess myself and think maybe I had written the wrong thing because I had too many zeros. And so I would question my answer. So if you understand this deeply, then hopefully this is less confusing. But anyway, that is how I explained it to my daughter. And when we were done, she had a much deeper understanding of the lesson. It's not necessary, but if you want to understand what is happening with this graphic and what the teacher's book is talking about, that is my explanation for you, and I hope that helps.